Ladies and gentlemen, hello, this is Debo over at Land Say Go, and we're actually going to be covering our first EDH deck tech today. But before we get started, if you want to help craft the content on this channel, be sure to leave your commander suggestions in the comments down below, and then participate in our community polls. It's a great way to get your voice heard. Also, if you want to help support the channel, use our TCG affiliate link listed down below to buy this deck list and give it a try for yourself. But today we're going to be covering Birgi, God of Storytelling. For 2 and a red, we get a 3/3 god that says whenever you cast a spell, add a red. Until end of turn, you don't lose mana as steps and phases end. Creatures you control can boast twice during each of your turns rather than once, and there's also a backside. Now, with Birgi, we don't really care about the second part or the backside of the card. Really, it's the mana production that is so huge in this list. With all of this free mana that she can create, how can we use and abuse it in order to win? Well, the game plan for Birgi is a storm list. You want to be cantripping through your deck, casting spells, and then winning with some sort of storm payoff. And in this deck, we have no shortage of cantrips. In fact, we're running about 37 of them. For our 1-mana options, we've got cantrips like Academic Dispute, Burning Inquiry, Crash Through, Crimson Wisps, and Expedite. We've got Dragon Mantle, Faithless Looting, Magmatic Insight, Needle Drop, Renegade Tactics, and Rile, Haggle, Warlord's Fury, Winds of Change, and the new Crimson Vow card, Ancestral Anger. We've got 1-mana artifacts and creatures, and with Birgi out, they can cantrip for 1 total mana. Things like Insolent Neonate, Arkham's Astrolabe, Chromatic Sphere, Chromatic Star, and Conjurer's Bauble. We've got 2-mana cantrips in here as well, with cards like Cathartic Reunion, new card, Reckless Impulse, Goblin Lore, Panic Spellbomb, Pyrite Spellbomb, Thrill of Possibility, Tormenting Voice, and Wild Guess. What do these cards do? Who cares? The most important text on them is draw a card. Now sure, some of them can be relevant, providing haste or forcing or preventing blocks, etc. But really, we are looking for that sweet card draw. Now, we do have a couple of cantrips that have some notable importance. Tectonic Reformation is a way to cycle our excess of lands to find more action for a single red. Overmaster allows us to cast our next instant and sorcery spell without the worry of it being countered. We've also got Wheel of Misfortune to be able to refuel our hand in the closest approximation to Wheel of Fortune there is. Fire Prophecy also doubles as removal while shipping a card from your hand to the bottom of your library so you can draw a card. Gamble is a tutor that can help you find a win con. Just hopefully you don't discard it. Credit Voucher lets you shuffle any amount of cards from your hand into your library and then draw that many cards for a cheap investment. Cleansing Wildfire gives you some land destruction and card draw, but you'll usually use it on your lands within the deck or to get a shuffle. And lastly, Fist of Flames gives a creature +X/+O and trample for each card you've drawn this turn. It's a great way to just falcon punch an opponent right out of the game with Birgi. On top of that, we have 2 cards that allow us to win the game on our next turn if we couldn't win this turn. Galvanic Relay is a nice 3-mana storm card that says exile the top card of your library. We may play it on our next turn. Storm. So we cantrip 10 times, cast this, we get 11 cards in exile, and at the start of our next turn, in order to go off again. We've also got Commune with Lava. For X red, we can exile the top X cards of our library, and until the end of our next turn, we can cast those cards. Now, especially with that last card, let's talk mana production. While Birgi can create a ton of free mana in a turn, we do need a way to get some additional mana fast. We are running 3 rituals in this deck. Desperate Ritual, Pyretic Ritual, and Rite of Flame are all ways to create a burst of mana for big mana plays. We also use cards like Runaway Steamkin, an absolute mana powerhouse in this deck. Some artifact ramp for us is Soul Ring, a classic, and then 2 reducers, Ruby Medallion and Helm of Awakening. Being able to reduce our 2 to 3 mana spells by an additional mana will really allow us to steamroll through our deck with much more mana efficiency. We also have a fun Strixhaven card in Stormkiln Artist. This card is insane. With all of our casting of instants and sorceries, plus our few ways of copying instants and sorceries, we can produce just a ton of treasure mana. And lastly, we have 2 mana producers that were just made for Birgi. The first is Grinning Ignis. With a mana reducer out, you basically get infinite colorless mana. This can be used to cast our artifacts or to power up a large Commune with Lava. The other card is Braid of Fire. This card is 2 mana. With cumulative upkeep, add a red mana. So every turn we're adding more and more red mana to our mana pool on our upkeep. Normally this wouldn't be that great, considering we'd have to use it before the phase ends. But because of Birgi's mana clause, we can hold on to it until our main phase and get to keep that mana for anything we want. It's amazing in this list. In terms of control, we do run Pyroblast and a red Elemental Blast for counter support, as well as Blasphemous Act, Chain Reaction, and Storm's Wrath for board wipes. For storm support, we do have a few options as well. Krark the Thumbless is a great one in this list. It lets us potentially potentially add to our storm count with little opportunity cost, as well as doubling up on draw effects whenever we successfully win a flip. Possibility Storm is similar. Not only is it punishing for our opponents, getting random flips off of casting spells, but we get to cast a spell, get a free mana off of Birgi, then cast another spell for free, netting a free mana. Conspiracy Theorist allows us to make use of cards we discard in case we had a handful of action. But if we didn't, we can use it to dig for more action if we attack with it. Bonus Round also gives a cheap way to copy all of our spells in a turn. This also affects opponents, so do be aware. Teferi's Puzzle Box is a way to cycle through our deck while also providing disruption for our opponents. Passage Flames allows us to utilize cards in our yard at a later time to storm off for a win, as it gives all of our instants and sorceries flashback. Almahar's Archive will draw us double cards except for the first one each turn, a great way to refuel and to keep the storm train going. The best two cards though, kind of creates an engine for itself, is Sensei's Divining Top and Mind Moil. Mind Moil tells you to put the cards in your hand on the bottom of your library and then draw that many cards whenever you cast a spell. So you'll almost always be hitting some sort of cantrip with those new hands. So you cast top, you get a new hand, you put the top on top of your library with its ability, you cast a spell, you get a new hand, you cast the top, you get a new hand, etc. It's pretty hard to lose at that point. Our win cons in the deck are pretty straightforward. Kessig, Flame Breather, and Firebrand Archer ping our opponents for each non-creature spell cast. Young Pyromancer makes us tokens, and Gutter Snipe shocks each opponent whenever we cast instants and sorceries. And our final win con is none other than Aetherflux Reservoir. Not only does this pair well with our archive, but it's just the go-to win con in a list like this. Cast spells, gain a ton of life, and then nuke your opponents. For our mana base, we are running a Valakut Awakening / Valakut Stoneforge for additional card draw, Shatterskull Smashing for some removal, Valakut the Molten Pinnacle for additional removal on each mountain play, of which we're running 18 snow covered. We are running fetches like Prismatic Vista, Fabled Passage and Arid Mesa, Bloodstained Mire, Scalding Tarn, and Wooded Foothills to thin the deck and to get our mountains. We can also use those to tutor up a Mad Blind Mountain in order to shuffle our deck if we don't like our Sensei's Divining Top activations. Myriad Landscape is a great addition for some land ramp, and we do have some other utility lands to help round out the package. Adventure's Fair to tutor up our win con, Buried Ruin to get back an artifact from the yard, and perhaps something like Crawling Barrens as an additional win con to pump mana into if we're drawing dead. Well, that's the deck. It's honestly a lot of fun to play. The fastest win I was able to pull off was turn 4, table turn 3. If you like drawing cards and getting a ton of value from otherwise unused cards, then Birgi God of Storytelling is the deck you've got to try. So what do you think? Did we miss a card that you think should be in the list? Let us know in the comments down below. And be sure to give us a like and subscribe. Again, I'm Debo with Land Say Go, and we'll be talking to you again real soon. Hey guys, thanks for watching our content. If you liked our video, you'll probably like these as well. And if you would, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And in the description below, you'll find our TCG affiliate link, where you can buy the cards that you need while also supporting us, Land Say Go, and our show.